All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this electrifying and invigorating episode of the Geek Garage podcast. I'm your host, David Dassaw, and joined with me, as per usual, is my good buddy Ted White. How are you doing, good sir?
I am neither electrified nor invigorated and would therefore like my money back.
Well, you are not part of the audience on this, so and even if you were, you could not have your money back because
That's right, no refunds,
it's
bitch.
yeah, it's free. This podcast is free, like pretty much all other podcasts except for Dan Carlin's and like a handful of others.
Good
Um,
ones, you know.
the ones that are worth the money.
Right.
Or we just have our Patreon, which is like, hey, do you feel
A
like
scam,
wasting?
frankly.
Yeah, it's like a
It's
MLM.
basically a pyramid scheme
Yeah, it's like an MLM, but like
for podcasts.
more transparent.
Right, right. More obviously a ripoff than the standard MLM.
Right, we're upfront about how it's like, hey, would you like to open up your front door and like throw $5 out your front door once a month, or would you like to flush it down the toilet? The
Yeah,
choice
I
is
mean,
yours.
if you at least lit it on fire, that would generate warmth and therefore have value. This way, it's just it's a bad scene. But anyway,
We're doing a
to
great
answer,
job of promoting our Patreon.
yeah, to answer your question in a non-comedic way, I'm hanging in, man. I
Yeah.
have a canker sore or something like right on my gums where my wisdom tooth meets
Mm,
on the bottom.
mm.
And so I'm basically weighing the pros and cons of pulling out a tooth with a pair of pliers. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I fucking hate those. They are the worst. And by the worst, I mean like not the worst, but they're
No,
pretty
no,
damn
they're the
bad.
worst. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone in the history of humanity. So
Yeah. So
pray for me to
everyone,
whatever deities you believe
yeah,
in.
everyone feels sad for Ted right now. Let's
Yeah,
take a moment of
yes,
silence
just a
for
moment of
Ted's mouth.
silence for Ted White. Thank you.
Let's have a moment of silence for Michael Jackson. Um, but yeah. Anyways, hopefully your mouth returns to homeostasis here in a relatively short burst of time. So, um, but yeah, we're taking this episode to do like a nerdy news update, which is kind of an old um, what do you call this old segment that we used to do on the podcast like a long time ago, back before even Ted was a co-host. But yeah, we're just gonna hit a few news items where like movies and just other random stuff that's been going on in the news that is like geek and nerd worthy, I guess. And then cover a couple things that are coming down the pike for the podcast. So should be fun, should be exciting. So yeah, Ted, you got any thoughts?
Several, but in the interest of keeping this a positive experience, I'll keep it to myself.
Okay, fair enough. Um, yeah, like usual, we would like to thank all of our current subscribers. Thank you so much for sticking with the podcast. Not exactly sure why you do, but we appreciate it
Stockholm
nonetheless.
syndrome. It's got to be.
Right, it's that thing where you get so used to your captor, you're just like, well, I'm in it now, so might as well see it through. Um, and for you new subscribers, consider yourself warned, I suppose. um, but
Yeah,
thank
prepare
you.
to be let down.
Right, thank you for giving us a tryout. Hopefully, we will capture your imagination just enough to the point where we'll keep stringing you along episode by episode to the point where you're like, why do I do this to myself?
And then, before you know it, Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. Boom, just like the rest of them.
Boom. It's a foolproof plan. It's
Boom.
a Swiss fucking watch, really.
Boom, roasted. Stanley, you crush your wife during sex and your heart sucks. Boom, roasted. Okay. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of The Office again recently because I just made the terrible decision of giving $5 of my hard-earned money to Peacock every month. and it's great because I get to watch it and still have to put up with commercials. It's fantastic.
Yeah, a friend. I was talking to another friend of mine yesterday, and he was just like, "Peacock is the worst streaming service that I could even imagine." Like, uh,
Yeah, it.
I just can't. NBC doesn't have enough shit that they've ever put out that like let's see, was Cheers an NBC show? That's one. Frasier, that's two. Um, there are two things I can think of off the top of my head that I would want to get Peacock for, both of which are readily available on DVD.
Yeah, I don't like with Hulu. I think I get less commercials with Hulu, and I don't even fucking pay for Hulu. Like I have the cheapest version you could possibly have because I get it through my Spotify Premium subscription.
Hmm.
And but at least Hulu has like entertaining commercials. Like they have the tag team commercial with the
Yeah,
the ice cream, the scoop. There it is. At least they
chocolata,
have
chocolata, chocolate. Yeah,
sprinkles. At least they have that one. Like Peacock, all you like. It's just commercials for other Peacock originals, like over and over again. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go jump in oncoming fucking traffic right now, because it's not that bad, but
mm.
um, it's it's man, I I really wish they, yeah, I wish it was back on Netflix, and I didn't have to put up with this shit. But you know, white people problems and all that, not the end of the world. We're gonna get through it. Ted, you want to play that funky new podcast intro music and get this shit show on the road?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do it. Boop. All right, so Ted, you ready to hit some of these little geeky, nerdy, newsworthy items that have been circulating the interwebs?
I suppose I have to be, otherwise I'm wasting my time.
Well, I mean, an argument could be made that just by being on the podcast that you're fulfilling that prophecy, but you know,
Thus is the joke.
yes. We were actually talking about this right before we hit record. You brought this to my attention that apparently aliens exist, right?
Yes,
Or quite possibly there's more evidence potential.
yeah, I like two major news networks, mainstream media news networks, I should say,
Like BuzzFeed.
have yes, BuzzFeed, in fact, is one of them. No, CNN and NBC both have jumped on the aliens exist bandwagon. Now, healthy cynic that I am, healthy is a relative term, of course.
Hmm.
Cynic though that I am, part of me is just like, oh well, it's to make money off of this, which is true, undoubtedly. That's why they're bringing this up. But also, aliens exist too, as well. So yeah,
Yeah, that was like something that like the ass end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 just kind of very subtly slid in there, like amongst the chaos that was already happening in
right.
in on Earth. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, we're basically all gonna all but confirm that aliens do in fact exist, and here's all the evidence. Like, I mean, you shared a link with me, where it was basically a leaked video. What was it? A leaked video shows what appears to be a UFO flying around a Navy ship off the coast of San Diego. Um, was this a recent video, or they said it was like 2019, right?
Yeah, I don't know when the video was taken. I just saw the news headline and was like, oh, David would be interested in this.
Yeah, I think when I was watching the video, I believe they said 2019, and they mentioned Captain or Commander David Fravor, who we talked about a little bit on the aliens episode, of the informal paranormal series. Um, this is one of the more contemporary alien kind of alien sightings, I guess. But yeah, I think it was back in maybe the early 2000s or something like that, where he saw like a Tic Tac UFO, and then apparently there's been more experiences between the Air Force and the Navy where just aliens are they're showing up, or
Just
weird
hanging
shit.
out.
Yeah, weird shit is just flying around, and they're like, yeah, there's shit out here that's clearly not ours, or terrestrial at all, because it moves like nothing we humans own. So,
Yeah,
you
so
know.
for those of you who had Alien Invasion on your 2021 bingo cards, congratulations. For those of you that had Alien Extinction Event, keep tuned in.
Right. Keep your ear to the ground, because you may be cashing in on that bingo spot here briefly. Kind of reminds me.
Very short-lived victory, that one.
Right. Yay! And then like just automatically get
Vaporized.
vaporized. Right. Um, it reminds me of that fucking Dane Cook joke where he's like, um, giant UFOs come land on Earth, and out come like 100-foot Native American Indians. And it's just like, holy shit, those are giant fucking Indians. Teach us to make corn? um yeah, anyways. Yeah, that was a thing. Um on a completely unrelated note, Pokemon Snap is now out. I
Yes, David, since like 1997, Pokemon Snap has been.
What? I had no idea. So I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but hot damn, did all my friends do a really good job of letting me know when this game came out. Because like I just opened up my Facebook feed as I was like gearing up for work, like a week or so ago, and it was just all Pokemon Snap from like everyone, and I was like, oh shit, like I didn't realize the game was out already. And I think that's when I posted in the Facebook group, like, hey, since I don't own the game yet, like I'd love to hear your thoughts and live vicariously through you. And it seems like the overwhelming consensus is that it is pretty good.
Yeah.
And which is good to hear, because I really enjoyed the first one. I don't think the first one got enough love at the time. Like, people thought it was kind of lame because you're not like hunting things. Like, that was, I feel like that was kind of during the first person and third person shooter craze, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, probably not far removed from it. FPS games have been popular since Wolfenstein,
all
so.
right. Well, I mean, still, like, I I felt like when I played it back in the day, I was in the minority of people who actually enjoyed it. Like,
Right.
I mean, granted, I had a very small sample size because my friends were like three different people, uh,
Fair.
including Ted, sort of in a removed kind of capacity.
Yeah.
Um,
Fuck, I'm old.
Goddamn.
Goddamn.
It's been 84 years. But yeah, if you have been playing Pokemon Snap, the new one for the Switch, and you are listening to this, let me know what you think. I love to hear more thoughts and opinions. I haven't really paid attention to Pokemon since like 1999, when there was like 151 of them, and now there's like a billion. I That's just too many for me. So, but
Yeah, for those of us who have responsibilities, it's too much.
I remember good old Mount Juliet Junior High. Uh, the Pokemon cards became a problem. I don't know if this was like
Yeah.
a nationwide thing, but like card collecting back then, just in general, was becoming like really big, because
Right.
there's Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and like several other games. And so like kids would bring them to school, and you would either trade or you would just show off your collection to your friends. And naturally they got you in trouble if you were dicking around with your cards during school hours.
Yeah.
uh, and I remember in my PE class, this kid got his cards taken away by the gym teacher, and he was like, I'll give them back to you right now if you can name all 151 Pokemon. And he did it. He was like, God damn it.
That's fucking impressive, honestly.
Yeah, we were all like, what the hell just happened? It was pretty nuts. But anything goes in public school, as they say. I don't know
Yeah.
if they really say that, but it should be a thing.
Yeah.
as
I went to
as
public
we've
school. Yeah.
right as anyone who has been to public school or public middle school can attest, that is in fact the truth.
Yeah. That shit was harrowing.
Right. Also, this is relatively new news. Universal Studios in Florida and Disney World. I'm not sure about Disneyland. I don't think it's the case for them, but the two parks, now you can go and not wear masks outside. I think in indoors, like when you're waiting in line for a ride and it happens to be inside, or you're in a restaurant, and you're not actively eating, like you have to still keep your mask on. But I thought that was a pretty big deal to, like, for both parks to be like, hey, as long as you're outside, you don't have to wear a mask. So,
Yeah. The country opening up is, I mean, it's going to happen. It's happening already.
oh yeah.
It's just strange, the disparity in how it's going, or I guess just the differences in places, and how they're opening it up. So I'm kind of
Right.
surprised on the one hand that both parks are doing that. I don't know what Florida's mandates are now. They might
They're
be they might.
loose.
Yeah, I know they've been pretty
They're,
loose, so
yeah,
they
they're
may
like
very well be
us
back
in
to
Texas.
100% capacity.
Yeah.
um,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, so it could be spurred by that. It could be spurred by the fact that those places are really fucking expensive to maintain, and they're just like, we're broke, goddammit.
Right.
But
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, and just with the number of new cases and infections and deaths, like overall, those numbers just dropping because of the vaccine, and the number of people that have been getting vaccinated going up. It's just all relatively good news, I think. And
Well, for
you know
sort of.
what part of that is not good? Is there a part that's not good?
Well, I mean, it's still it's all of it really. It's unfortunate that this ever became a thing, really.
Oh,
But
sure, but I'm not talking like, hey, yay pandemic. I'm just speaking about silver linings in
sure,
general. So,
sure.
but yeah, so if you're looking to vacation this summer, it is, and especially in Florida for Universal or Disney World, it seems like you should be able to go and have a relatively quote unquote normal time than you would any other moment point in time in history that you would go. So that's pretty cool, especially for my wife and I, because we have plans on going sometime in the near future. I think either at the end of the summer or the beginning of the fall. Ted, I talk to you about this?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, Ted, you already know this part, but my wife just recently got a job as a tech working for an ABA clinic, which is applied behavioral analysis. It's one of the treatments um, for autistic children. And so this is a very exciting time. She got a job. It's the first time she's gotten a job since we had our kids, and it's just a job in general. So more income is always great. But yes, we're kind of using that opportunity to celebrate and go on a much needed vacation here in the next 6 months or so. But whenever we can figure out how to
You
fit
know,
it in there. But
post coronavirus,
yeah, well,
as it were.
right. But we're very excited for it. Um, so hopefully by the time we make it down there, the mask mandates and everything will be even more chill than they are now. At least not any less chill, I guess.
Don't harsh the vibe, coronavirus.
All right.
Well, if you make it to Universal Studios, please find someone to go full Karen on about them removing the Jaws ride. So, and then tell them that there's a gentleman in Nashville who will not participate in their establishment until that is remedied.
Did they remove the Jaws ride to make room for the new Velociraptor ride? Is that what happened?
I don't know if it was that or Harry Potter or the Minions or one of those other dumbass fucking things they've got down there that's not
Okay.
Jaws. So
I remember riding the Jaws ride. It was quite a long time ago. I think it was a trip that my dad took me, my brothers on as a sorry your parents are getting divorced kind of vacation.
the best kind of vacation.
I know, right? It's like, hey, try and forget about your overall misery for like a half a week. Here's some Mickey Mouse magic. But we went to a couple different Disney parks, and we ended up going to Universal and had the best time there actually, as opposed to the Disney World parks. I think back then it was easier to just do Universal spur of the moment rather than just you needing a shit ton of planning for Disney. But yeah, we ended up writing a bunch of stuff, including Jaws. I think we rode the Simpsons ride too. Not sure if that's still there, but yeah, exciting stuff. Let's see, Ted, do we have anything else non-movie or TV show related before we dive into movie and TV show related stuff? I don't think
I'm
we
sure
do.
not. No.
There's plenty of nerdy and geeky news that is to be shared, but this is the best that we could come up with on short notice. So yeah, let's move on to the movie stuff, which is apparently the number one thing that you guys want to hear about. So here we are to fucking deliver, right?
Woo.
Yeah. So uh, one of my favorite contemporary horror directors, Ari Aster, his a little bit of news coming out of his newest movie that is being I guess it's in production right now, or close
Or
to it.
pre-production, yeah.
Yeah, but it was announced a while ago that Joaquin Phoenix was going to be in it. Let's see. Do we have a title for this movie yet? I believe
Yes,
we
we do.
It is Disappointment Boulevard.
Yep.
Apparently, it's being described as a nightmare comedy, which
Which is funny because that was the also known as for this podcast for a while on my phone,
oh yeah,
which was also when I also described it as a nightmare comedy. So.
a nightmare comedy, an emphasis on the nightmare.
Yes.
But yeah, the article that I found, it was kind of tied to a couple other movies because they're all being filmed in Montreal, which isn't super surprising because from what I've heard, like on the financial side of
Tax breaks.
film, yeah, there's a lot of tax breaks, and it's just overall cheaper to film
Yeah,
in Canada.
that's why everything is filmed in Atlanta because George is just like, here, tax money haven.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like we said, it's being described as a nightmare comedy. It's being filmed in Montreal. It's got Joaquin Phoenix, and I mean, I'm already on board. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
I don't care what the movie's about at this point. Just
just
Joaquin, check. Ari Aster's third film, check. I'm in. That's all. Cool.
Yeah.
When's opening night? I'll be there.
just put it in my brain. Just open it up and pour it in. I'm good with it. So yeah, that's cool. Let's see. We got we've gotten quite a few movie trailers here recently. Uh, Army of the Dead came out. Um, I think that's been out for a couple weeks now, but
Yeah, the trailer's been out for a couple of weeks.
yeah, but I just recently, or I rewatched it just a few minutes before we started recording, and I'm pretty excited for it. Uh, Ted, what are your thoughts?
I haven't yet decided if I think it looks like the dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen or it's genius. I don't
Split
know.
the difference?
I I'm I'm gonna watch it. Um, I think I'm in the minority of people that like the 2004 Dawn of the Dead film.
Well,
Um,
I'm there with you because I liked
so
it.
I'll watch it. I don't know that I'm gonna like it. Like I said, I can't decide if I think zombies having their own society in Las Vegas is brilliant or brain dead. No pun intended. I can't. It's one or the other. There's no middle ground on this one, right? Like it's 100% genius or 100% the dumbest fucking thing anyone's ever written. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But the concept of it, aside from that, is just ridiculous enough to be interesting.
Hmm.
They're going to rob a casino filled with zombie or in a zombie fortified city. That's okay. Sure, I'm in. I think it's got enough people in it that are good enough or interesting enough to make this a worthwhile endeavor. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I, I, I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder. I think that he's good at some things and abysmal at others. But I will say this: he makes interesting movies, but interesting doesn't always mean good, right?
Hmm.
So I'll watch it, and hell, who knows? Maybe I'll even enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I historically looking back at all the Zack Snyder movies that I've seen, I want to say that I've liked more than I've disliked. I have gone back and like had different thoughts on his movies like upon rewatching them. Like when I watched 300 for the first couple times when it first came out, I was like, holy shit. And like, I remember watching it not too long ago and I was like a little less on it than, than I originally was. And same goes for Sucker Punch. Like I was all about that movie when it first came out. And I still think it's a pretty decent movie, but wasn't as high on it when I recently watched it. But with this, like, I think it looks interesting, and I'm excited to see Dave Batista in another role. For the most
Yeah,
part, I've only seen him in like Guardians, I think, and the subsequent Avengers movies as Drax the Destroyer. So I'm excited to see him not painted blue and or green or yellow or whatever color you want to call them. Uh, who knows? It's provocative, but yeah, I'm excited to see him in this movie playing the lead of this crazy heist team. So are they going in to get this money because like it's abandoned there, like and there's like no one there to get it, and you'd be crazy to try and go obtain it, or
yeah,
is that
David. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. The plot does not fucking matter whatsoever in this movie. All right, the
yeah.
motivation in this film is not even secondary; it's tertiary at best.
Right. I did realize it has Scorpion in it. Has the
Yeah,
dude that plays Scorpion. I
Hiroyuki
was like,
Sanada.
yeah. I always forget his name. I'm sorry. I should know his name by now because we brought him up enough on this podcast to for me to know his name. But yeah, a couple of other trailers. The Green Knight trailer just debuted late last week. The new
Yeah,
film from
this is the
A24.
second trailer for it. The first was just a teaser, though, so I don't know if you want to count that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that came out. I want to say late last year, maybe, because the film I'm pretty sure has been done for a while, and it's just another COVID casualty. I
Sure.
could be wrong on that, but I think that's the case. I think it was supposed to release last year.
Okay.
Um, I'm interested in this film for a couple of different reasons. The first being that it looks dope. The
Hmm.
trailer was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, like, is this? I haven't. I could very easily research this, but I'm not going to do that. Is this like a film version of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight?
Yes,
Okay, then
that
I'm
is
very much
exactly
into
it.
this. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
super into this then.
yeah, and I love the choice of using alternate um, cultural. Um, how do I put this politically correctly? Um, People of color, I guess.
You
Uh,
mean just the honkies?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's just A24. Being the badasses that they are. They tend to do more right than wrong, in my opinion and my observations. But yeah, this trailer, Ted, like you said, it gave me chills. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It reminded me of like the first time I saw the Midsommar and Hereditary trailers. Like it kind of, I mean, it's like a Knights of the Round Table kind of situation, but it was cut like a horror movie. So
Definitely gave off a lot of
I'm
horror,
very excited
very
to see where they
atmospheric
go with it.
vibes. Yeah, I'm super
Yeah.
interested in it. It looks really good. I love that story.
Hmm.
Um, I'm kind of anxious to see how true to the source they are, in terms of plot and things like
Hmm.
that. But I mean, there's a lot. Like that's a meaty piece of art. They could do a lot with it, and still be fairly true to the source, or they could kind of go off the deep end, and I'd be kind of down with that. Just like I said, the teaser looked good, and then the trailer looked even fucking better. The full trailer that we just got not too long ago looked even better. So I'm very,
Right.
I'm gonna be very disappointed if this movie sucks.
Right. Yeah. um. Let's see. There was a trailer that just debuted today that I didn't get a chance to watch it. Was the GI Joe one? What is
Yeah,
it?
the Rise
The
of or Snake. Fuck.
Snake
I
Eyes?
just some sure. I saw that the
Yeah.
teaser had released, but I haven't watched it yet because I have no fucking desire whatsoever to see it.
Yeah, I remember. When did the other GI Joe movie come out? What wasn't it? Wasn't it like 10 years or so ago? And
Yeah,
I
there've been
had
like two now, right?
okay, yeah, I remember seeing it, and I was like, okay, like
Because
GI
didn't
Joe
the
wasn't. It wasn't
good?
really a thing that I was into as a kid, like the action figures or like there was a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't really something that I was into for whatever reason. I was more of like I guess like a Power Rangers kid, and I was into Nickelodeon, so I didn't have much time for GI Joe. But I don't know. I'll probably end up watching the trailer sooner or later and make a decision for myself if I want to waste my time with it or not. So
Okay. Well, I just read that Iko Uwais from the Raid is in it, so I might give this one a shot.
just because
E-
of that,
yeah, even though I realize that it will be a bit part where he plays, like the bodyguard for the big bad and is killed in a horrific way, 40 minutes into the film. At which
sure.
point I will check out and go find a ticket for a better film. That's not even there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of getting tickets to go see movies, you brought this to my attention right before we hit record about Dune that Warner
Yes.
Brothers or HBO or whoever pulled the plug on that coming directly to or not directly to HBO Max, but like
The same
doing
same
the
day debut. Yeah.
yeah.
So we talked about this on our Death of the Movie Theaters episode.
Hmm.
And I mean, this isn't, this was big news when it happened, but Warner Media decided that all of the big films for their 2021 release calendar would debut on HBO Max the same day as in theaters.
Hmm.
Uh, they have since walked that back because everybody involved in Warner Media hated that fucking decision. Christopher Nolan, I think, was probably the most outspoken about it,
Hmm.
and he had some pretty harsh words to say. He was like, people thought that they were going to be seeing the best movies, and they realized that they now had to sign up for the worst streaming service or something to that effect. And I was like, damn, Christopher Nolan out here like dropping bombs. um, So Dune, at least, is the only one that's been announced so far. But Dune will no longer be coming to HBO Max when it releases. It will instead debut only in theaters and then have the standard 45-day theatrical window. Once that is up, it will be available to stream.
Mhm.
Uh, an interesting, if not unexpected, decision. I think Warner Media realized that the pandemic was somewhat more under control, at least, than maybe they thought it would be, um, or that
Yeah.
maybe a lot of people thought it would be. So, with things starting to open back up now and the vaccine rolling out and being fairly well adopted nationwide in the US, at least, as well as some other places in the world, they've decided to go back on that, like I said, and put that one just in theaters.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that, David?
I am honestly okay with it. Like it it makes me excited that for many reasons. Like, we talked about on our Death of Movie Theaters episode that we were really super bummed at the potential of the death of movie theaters, but it looks like, I'm afraid to speak too soon, but it seems like as of right now, with things kind of getting back to or evolving to a new normal, and theaters opening back up, like the decision to pull that out of HBO, like I'm like fuck yes, like I want to go back to the movie theater. I want to go back to enjoying great epic films on the big screen, and so yeah, I'm just excited about the prospect of that. I'll be the first to admit I have enjoyed several movies this year so far, uh, by the way of HBO Max, like
Sure.
Godzilla versus Kong
Right.
was excellent. Um, I can't remember
Mortal
the
Kombat.
yeah, Mortal Kombat. I managed to squeeze a little bit of enjoyment out of it. Um,
The bare minimum.
the bear men, but yeah, I am very excited that, and it seems like they're going to stick with their release date. It's what, October, right?
Yeah, so the film is set to debut officially at, I believe it was the Venice Film Festival in
Okay.
September, and then we'll have a theatrical debut on October the 1st. That's
Okay.
at least as of today. Of course, that's subject to change,
Right on. Yeah.
but that's kind of the current plan, it seems like.
Yeah, that still gives me plenty of time to power through the audiobook on Audible. I purchased that like last year and then got distracted, but I definitely want to get that read before the movie comes out. And Ted, I don't know if you heard this or read the article, but the movie is actually supposed to only cover about half of the book. Did you read that?
Yeah, so it's supposed to be the first of a two-parter, but I kind of feel like the movie is going to be a phenomenal flop.
Oh yeah.
And that we probably won't ever get the second part.
Well, I'm truly hoping that's not the case, because the trailers got me excited. Um, I like the idea for the movie. I'm not super familiar with the original or the book. Like I said, I'm still trying to get through it, but I'm also a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve. I loved Blade Runner 2049. Oh boy, okay, I'm gonna say this, and the nerds are gonna come after me, but I liked it better than the original Blade Runner.
Well, that's
Um,
incorrect, but you're entitled to your opinion.
I'm not saying that I didn't. I don't like the original Blade Runner, but I thought 2049 was more interesting. And I never fell asleep during Blade Runner 2049, so there's that. But I also really enjoyed, movies like Arrival and what's that one with Jake Gyllenhaal, with like the giant fucking spiders? I can't remember.
Enemy
Enemy, thank you. Yeah.
or
Uh
enemies. I can't remember for sure. One of the two.
yeah. It's super bizarre. Like he
Yeah.
finds someone that looks exactly like him, and like the other Jake Gyllenhaal character like hijacks his life, and he's like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna fuck your wife. I was like, what
That
the?
uh, Incendies, I think is what it was.
Uh,
Sicario. I think that he makes very interesting, very good-looking films.
mhm,
I don't know that. I'm definitely not as high on him as you are, but I think he makes very beautiful,
mhm.
aesthetically at least, films.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely something to look out for. I think that's pretty much it as far as stuff that we wanted to cover. Um, we do have a couple things podcast related that we wanted to touch on before we
Yes.
get to our shit that doesn't suck segment. Ted, you want to talk about Martial Arts Month while I try and not cough up my lungs because I didn't get any water for myself for this
Yes.
podcast.
um, this is an idea that we've been kicking around for like a year and a half,
Yeah, long time.
long time, and that is to do a themed month, so to speak, or a limited run series on one of my favorite genres of films, and that is martial arts. So, kung fu movies, whatever you want to call them. Although technically, kung fu is one martial art, but that's not here nor there. We're going to have some more info about this coming up. I think we're going to try and shoot for June or July of this year to do this.
Hmm.
David will throw up a couple of polls on the Facebook about movies you might want to see. With it being a short series, we're probably not going to do more than like 6 or 8 tops, just because we can't cover everything. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
against turning this into a martial arts themed podcast, or at least martial arts movies themed podcast, but I feel like we would alienate the 4 people that regularly listen, so don't want to do that. But yeah, he and I have talked about this for a while. I'm a huge fan of this genre, and I think we're gonna do it right. So I'm very excited for it.
Yeah,
So be on the lookout
I'm
for
pretty
some more
pumped.
info about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for it too. I'm glad that we're finally getting around to do it. Ted, like you said, we've been talking about it for at least a year. I feel like it's been at least a year we've been throwing this idea around, and it was kind of like the serial episode and others of the like, where we just threw out the idea and we'd be like, oh yeah, that'd be fun, and but required a little bit of thinking and
God
planning to
forbid.
put it together. So we just kind of kept on putting it off and putting it off, and we're finally at the point where we're like, you know what, I think we're ready to kick the doors in on this bitch. So yeah, I'm definitely very excited. I'm not as well versed in the genre of kung fu movies as Ted is, so I'm excited to get my feet more wet than they were prior. So yeah, definitely pumped for that. Another thing, we kind of talked about this on the last episode, celebrating our 100th episode, but we are bringing video to the podcast. It's still a little up in the air as to the capacity. We're gonna try and do video for every episode. One of the things that's more up in the air is how we're going to bring it to you guys. What we're thinking about doing is right off the bat is making full video episodes available to our Patreon donors. And of course, those would be available to you at the lowest tier, which is $2. And then, but we'd also have short clips that we would have like on our YouTube channel, and you'd be able to watch those for free. And then eventually segue into a live streaming situation where we would try and live stream the majority of our episodes. And so then the live stream episodes would be a Patreon perk, and then the pre-recorded videos that we would then edit down and release on YouTube like we would prior would be for free. So that's kind of what we're kicking around right now. I say that. Please keep in mind that nothing is final as of right now, but that is what we're kind of kicking around right now. We are super excited to bring some video to the podcast. It's something that has been requested by several people, that listen to the show. And you know who you are. Thank you so much for your suggestions. We greatly appreciate your feedback. And it's one of the very few ways and opportunities that we have to improve on the podcast is when we get suggestions for how to make it better. Because, Ted and I, we're only so smart when we put our heads together and we're like, all right, how can we make this shit show a little less shitty, right?
Yeah.
See, case in point. um, but yeah, that is something that is coming down the pike. So keep a lookout for that. Ted, would you like to do shit that does not suck?
Yes, let us do that.
All right, let us do that. What you got for us this week?
I don't know, David. You're gonna have to go first. I've got to find something.
Okay, that's fine. So here lately, I have been Love, Death, and Robots just came out, but I was in the middle of rewatching the most recent season of Better Call Saul. So Love, Death, and Robots would be my shit that doesn't suck, but like I said, I haven't watched all of it, and I will probably end up doing an episode of Love, Death, and Robots. I feel like it would only be fitting since that was like one of the first episodes that Ted was on when he first. I don't think you had officially joined the podcast at that point in time. You were just kind of a semi-reoccurring guest.
I don't remember.
It was definitely early on in the those days, but yeah. Anyways, so I recently just started rewatching the latest season of Better Call Saul. Just because I'm very much looking forward to the next and last season. I think there still is no hard date on the last season. The only thing that has been mentioned is that it's probably next year in 2022. So, yeah, I didn't really need a reason to start rewatching it again, other than I just miss Better Call Saul, and I love all the characters in it. So, yeah, that's my shit that doesn't suck. I love that show, and forgot how heavy it is. It is not nearly as heavy as Breaking Bad. For those of you that have watched Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, it's not nearly as heavy, but still got its moments. So, Ted, have you come up
I
with
have
something?
found something. Yes.
Yeah, you did it.
Woo! I rewatched, I guess I should say, a very funny film, and that is Best in Show.
Oh yes.
I saw that on HBO Max, and my lady and I were looking for something funny to watch, and I was like, "Oh, this is funny. Let's watch it." Um, Man, I forgot how good that fucking movie is. Everybody in it is phenomenal. It's just so fucking good. It's just so good. I don't even know really what else to say.
That's all you really need to say.
Yeah.
We actually watched Best in Show in my film appreciation class in high school. Uh, that for those of you that have not seen it, that's how good it is. It's so funny. Like the scene when the dude like that's kind of like showing the the arena like where the competition is held, and he just randomly starts singing to demonstrate the acoustics.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great like weird humor like that. I think
Yeah.
my favorite part is probably Eugene Levy's two left feet. Legitimate.
Yes. Yeah.
Where they're making the joke about we met and we wanted to dance, and back then I wasn't much of a dancer because I had two left feet, and he was like, really? And then the camera does the slow pan down, and he actually has two left feet.
Yes.
That's great. And then the beginning, where they're in the couple is in the psychiatrist's office, and it's just like, how did the dog react to seeing you have sex? What has they been, what has she been like since then? And it does the pan over, and the dog is just like depressed laying there. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, him and Catherine O'Hara, they play so great off of each other, and they do it just as good, if not better, in Schitt's Creek. If you have uh, seen that, it's also excellent. Um, so yeah, I did not realize that it was on HBO. So I literally just pulled it up on my phone and added it to my watch list queue. So I'm excited to go watch that again. So thanks for the heads up on that, Ted. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
highly recommended.
Cool. So I believe that's going to do it for this episode. Ted, you got any final thoughts before we close this piece down?
No, man, that's all I got. I'm gonna go like find some Orajel, I think.
Yeah, numb that canker sore up. Get that bitch taken care
Yeah.
of. Yeah. All right. Well, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, congratulations. And I am sorry, as always. But yes, you can find us on all social media, on all podcasting platforms. Please like, subscribe, follow, do all that fun stuff. Leave us a rating and review where applicable. That's basically Stitcher and Apple Podcasts. Um, Go visit our Etsy shop. You can find us at Geek Garage Gear. You can go on there and find some cool tumblers. That is the cup and not the website. That is pointless to visit now that it does not have porn. We also have stickers on there as well. So yeah, give that a visit. All the links will be down below in the subscription. Yeah, and as always, be kind, stay geeky, and eat lots of cheesecake. Bye!